Hey everybody, John Duesler here on DiscGolfPlanet TV, and welcome. We're going to reincarnate the DGP Weekly feature, and we are so excited right now. We have with us there's a couple pages that are World Championships. Of course, we know Paige Pierce from Texas, who is our defending Women's Open World Champion, but we are so pleased today to have Paige Bjerkaas, the 2010 Junior World Champion. And Paige, how you doing this evening?
I am good, John. How are you?
I'm excited. I've heard so many great things about you. I've really been watching your progress throughout the last few years. And Paige, you're making a name for yourself in disc golf. You went from Junior World Champion in 2010. You finished third in the Advanced Division in Rochester last year. Tell me a little bit about what you consider the strength of your game, Paige.
I'd say my strength, like my biggest strength, is definitely my putting. I've been practicing, and I'm kind of getting it down. But also, I just try to have fun. That really helps you. Like, even if you're doing bad, you just try to have fun. It actually does help. Enjoying yourself and having a good time, especially when you get to play with the ladies. You always have a good time. That's definitely good.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, you've rocketed up through the ranks here. You were third, like I said, in Rochester last year. Now you are a pro. You are a professional disc golfer. How does that sound to you?
It sounds so exciting. It's really awesome. When I first started, I never thought of that. I was like 10 when I first started. So now hearing Paige, the professional, it's crazy. It's very crazy.
Yeah, well, you get to play now with some of your heroes, Paige Pierce, of course, and Liz Lopez. And it's interesting because those two players bring really contrasting styles. Liz is a much more patient player. You talked a little bit about that with me beforehand. And Paige is really just go for it, throw as hard as you can. And where do you fit in that spectrum of really aggressive or really careful?
I would definitely consider myself aggressive. I believe in no risk, no reward.
Okay.
It's definitely affected my playing. I've had really good rounds, then went for something, and it kind of tumbled down. I'm trying to learn to be more patient, but it's kind of tough for me. I'm still going aggressive, but I'll learn eventually.
Well, sure. I mean, you're 15 years old, of course. Who cares? Who cares about risk when you're 15 years old? Let me ask you. You played disc golf since you were 10. Are you involved in any other sports, Paige?
Yes, I played basketball in middle school, and I'm interested in playing volleyball next year for my school.
Oh, great!
Definitely.
Great. Awesome. Well, we find it's funny because, a lot of people say, oh, Frisbee, and, they sort of look at us like we're not quite a sport. But it's always amazing when I meet the top players in our sport, how many are great athletes off the disc golf course. Nate Doss is a great basketball player. We know Paul Macbeth, obviously a professional baseball player. So it's pretty neat to know that you're involved in other sports as well, as you should be at 15 years old. But now you're committing to the professional ranks here, and we didn't have a chance to really talk to you too much in Arizona at the Memorial. Tell us a little bit about your experience at the Memorial, Paige, and if there was something you might have learned along the way that you think will help you as a professional now.
Well, first off, the Memorial was amazing. It was my first year, and to see all the excitement with all the famous pros that I've always seen in magazine and watched from the airing of the Memorial and the USDGC. It was very awesome. Now, I did learn a few stuff. I sometimes lose, when I don't lose my head when I'm not doing so well. But, I met some really nice people who taught me to just chillax, Paige. It's not the end of the world. And besides, it's your first year coming here. You have many years to come.
Sure.
And that was definitely very helpful, and that's it. I mean, I met a ton of nice people, and it was awesome.
I'm glad you had a good experience. It definitely is one of the staples of our sport. That event is amazing. And tell me a little bit about what your plans are for the 2012 here, as you now are competing in the Women's Open division.
Well, I still have school, so I'm limited on what I can, what tournaments I can play and whatnot. But I do plan on playing the Minnesota Majestic, which I'm super excited about. the World Championships, of course, and a few other A tiers like the High Plains Challenge in Fort Morgan and
Sure.
Colorado State. But other than that, I'll be playing a few B tiers and a bunch of C tiers here locally because, school, I can't travel too much. I already missed about 2.5 weeks for the USDGC and the Memorial. So,
Yeah.
school's first.
Good. Well,
Unfortunately, I wish disc golf could be first, but
no, you're on the right track with school. Take it from me as someone who went to school for a really, really long time. So you're on the right track with that. But I know that Colorado has a great disc golf scene, and you're fortunate to be around some of the most beautiful courses and great organizations. And we know your dad is actually quite involved with organizing the women's event in Colorado. Tell us a little bit about the role your dad plays in your disc golf career and the event that's coming up later this year, the women's event.
oh man, if it wasn't for my dad, and my mom, I would not be playing disc golf. They got into it a while ago, and finally when we moved here, we used to live in Texas. When we moved here, we finally got into it. My dad plays a big role. He's always helping me out. He's always buying me stuff, of course, and he gives great advice, and he tells me, when to calm down, and he's just very helpful. He's very, loving, especially when I do really bad in a tournament and I'm so upset. He's always there, to try to cheer me up.
So
Now,
your dad caddies while you're playing?
he does caddy sometimes. He usually plays in the tournaments, but when he can caddy, he's always, Paige, do you want a caddy? And of course I take it. Who doesn't always want caddies?
Oh yeah, no, that's great advice, and you'll see that the pros actually will take advantage of anybody volunteers to caddy for them. You'll see them usually take advantage. That's great. And your dad, of course, is he's sort of the co-tournament director of the women's event. Tell us a little bit about, I guess it's the Rocky Mountain Women's Tournament in your state.
My dad is definitely the co-tournament director. The course that it's playing at this year is one he designed himself. So we're actually putting in tee pads in for right now. But
Very nice.
he asked for so many sponsors. Like if it wasn't for all the sponsors he went up to, it definitely wouldn't be as good as it was, like with the payout and everything.
Sure.
And he promotes it so well. If you see any girl on the course, he'll be like, hey, have you heard of the Rocky Mountain Women's? You should definitely play. And he promotes it so well. And my dad is he's very, I would consider jolly, so he's not, he's very easy to talk to, and, I love it. And he's just supporting it so well.
That's great. Well, I know I haven't really talked to your dad that much, but we had some great correspondences over the last week to set up this interview, and I certainly got the same vibe from him. And speaking of sponsors, you are in the enviable position of actually having a few sponsors yourself. And, many golfers, disc golfers, they try so hard to get sponsorship, but I guess once you get that world champion moniker behind your name, a lot of the disc golf industry takes notice. So you have a few sponsors, so tell us a little bit about them, Paige.
Well, my first sponsor ever was Fade Gear, and they make bags and shirts and stuff. And they picked me up when I was like 790 rated, and now I was like 11 or 12. And they make disc golf bags. They make small, medium, and large, and they're just perfect. I mean, they have a side pocket, a drink holder, a mini, pocket, and a pencil pocket, which is basically all you need to play disc golf.
Sure.
They're just amazing and so supportive of me. They've been there every step of the way ever since I was, 11 or 12. And they're just amazing.
And Tim not only sponsors you, Tim McNinch from Fade Gear, who is also one of DiscGolfPlanet's great sponsors as well, but he sponsors the event that your dad runs too. So I know he's been a great supporter of the sport, and especially women in disc golf, which is, I think, an underserved area that we also are very focused on. But Fade Gear's not your only sponsor, huh?
My other sponsors are Dynamic Discs, and they picked me up. I remember I got a text from my dad saying Dynamic Discs wants to sponsor you in 7th grade, and I got so excited. I was in the middle of class and I jumped up and down, and everyone's like, "What? What are you doing?" But I mean, they dye the coolest dyes ever. Like ever since when I first started, I saw their dyes everywhere, and I was like, "Oh, they're so cool!" And they make awesome shirts, and I love wearing their shirts. They have the coolest shirts. They're comfortable, and I love them. And they make towels and minis and all this stuff.
Sure.
They're amazing.
And you reciprocated with that sponsorship by winning the Glass Blown Open. Was it last year that you won the event, or when did you win that?
2009, I won advanced.
Awesome, great. So I'm sure Jeremy, another again. It seems like we walk the same road here because Jeremy Rusko and the Dynamic Disc team, they're one of Disc Golf Planet sponsors as well. So we keep good company, don't we?
Yep.
And of course, your disc sponsor. I see a Discraft disc in your Fade Gear bag there. Tell us about them.
Discraft. I got sponsored by them after I got to beat. I beat Des Redding in an A tier. It was my most memorable win. It was amazing. And, they saw it and they picked me up. I mean, they make the best discs. Like, I used to have a mixed bag, but now that I have, on Discraft, it's definitely improved.
Sure.
And I'm just so excited, especially, like when when they first, asked me, I got so excited. I was like jumping up and down, but they've helped me, they've supported me, and I'm so excited for the new titanium stuff to come out. It's going to be awesome. Absolutely.
We just got a batch of them here in the office, yesterday, as a matter of fact, for the memorial prizes, and they're really cool. I guess they're approach discs that we got, so I'm sure all our Disc Golf Planet members who won those prizes will be excited about it. But Paige, let me ask you. Disc golf is a sport that you've been in for more than a few years now. It's amazing. At 15, you started playing so young. But what is your impression of disc golf as it stands now, and what do you think we're doing right in disc golf? And what are some areas you think we might be able to improve in on our sport?
Well, things are doing right. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff disc golf is doing right. I mean, they're supporting ladies, which is a big thing in disc golf. And, like how people spread it around. You have all the big pros and maybe even the, amateur players. They're just trying to spread the word, trying to make it, everything, like everyone will know about it. It's very awesome how many people are knowing about it because you yourself know about it and you tell all your friends and then your friends tell your friends. I think that's definitely something that disc golf's done right. I think what can make it better is placing more, courses at elementary school, middle schools, and high school because if kids get into it, the future is going to be better. Like every kid throws a baseball and they've shot, thrown a basketball in a hoop. If every kid can throw a disc into a basket, you get hooked on it. And many people go their whole lives without seeing a disc golf course, but they see golf courses and, tennis, courts and basketball courts and whatnot. So if we put more courses, I think that'll definitely help.
Definitely help. And I think also to be honest and have a great ambassador and such a good player like yourself. You're well-spoken, Paige, and you definitely represent the game quite well. And it has been just an absolute pleasure having you here on Disc Golf Planet TV. When can we expect to see you? We're going to be, I guess we'll see at the Worlds, or I'm not sure we're going to be at the Minnesota Majestic, but it'd be great to catch up with you down the road. Maybe at the Colorado Rocky Women's. Tell us a little bit about the information if people want to sign up for the women's event in Colorado. Tell us a little bit about where they might be able to find out more information.
You can go to the Mile High Disc Golf Club website, which is the club that helps support the Rocky Mountain Women's. You can definitely go on the PDGA site and look it up.
Awesome.
It's in the last weekend in June. You can definitely sign up there.
Okay.
That's really all I know.
Well, Paige, do you have any last comments you'd like to say? Maybe about just thanking your sponsors or anything you'd like to say about disc golf before we leave?
I'd definitely like to thank my sponsors. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But I can't express how much I love disc golf. After high school, I plan on touring, and one time Valerie wrote this article about whether school or disc golf, and it was definitely helped me. I plan on playing disc golf after I graduate and taking some online classes, play as much as I possibly can because it's an amazing sport. I definitely think that if more people tried, they get hooked and it would become bigger and bigger, and that's what we need. Because we definitely needed to do that thing.
Well, as someone who puts great value in school, remember Valerie is out on the road touring and playing, but she's also taking her college classes online too. So she really knows the value of great education, and it sounds like you do too. Paige Bjerkaas from Colorado, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for joining us on DiscGolfPlanet.tv.
Thank you.